Oh. Hey, Daniel.
Yes.
Let's see. Move bots. Hey, Brian.
Hello, folks. How are we doing? You all right?
Yeah, doing okay. How about you?
Good, man. I'm good.
All right. Switch this. There we go. Fancy cameras. We'll give it a few minutes, let people trickle in. I hope everyone's having a good Tuesday. From the RV. You have to give us a tour, Chris. You're muted.
It's not tidy, trust me. But this is commitment, right? Hello, this is what commitment looks like. I'll get that background changed somehow.
There you go.
I'll find it under settings somewhere. Anyway, we should be getting the LFX back soon, right?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think so. I don't have a timeline on it yet.
I'll follow up on that and I'll keep everyone updated. So I'll follow up with Audra so that we have the page up. And once we have the page up, we'll have the ability to create the virtual meetings and set up the recurring stuff. So I'll take care of that and I'll keep all of you posted.
Awesome. Sounds good. I'm waiting for some information as well on the if they're trying to create a new repository or what things look like there. We know they're creating a new unified kind of covers all the tags and everything else, like one big website and repository, but we don't know what that's going to look like yet. Do you have any info on that yet, Atul? Have you heard things about that too?
No.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Oh no, I overwrote the agenda in here. Just a moment. All right, discussions. Yep, there is the one. All right, let me get the doc posted here. So let me jump into it. Sorry for the delay. Welcome, everybody. We got some new faces as well. I'm sure more people are going to join and trickle in as we go. I'll go ahead and share the meeting notes document in the chat. Doing that now. Typical rigmarole, what we usually ask is if you could put your name into the Google Doc there. So we can keep track of who's attending and what meetings. It helps us kind of go back and find where contributions have been, things of that nature. So feel free to jump in and start filling that out if you can. We have several topics today that we're going to go through. For the new faces, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping and talk about some community happenings and things there. Today, our guest speaker and topic is Daniel and Mauricio. Is Mauricio coming today, or is it just you today, Daniel?
He's going to be coming, so he's still previous meeting.
Okay, awesome. So they're going to talk about TAG DevEx and what collaboration will look like, and some other topics there. And then we have a topic on for discussion before we get into open discussion as well, which is the CNCF is looking to do a tech radar in this year's edition related to platform engineering. And so we're going to have a little bit of open discussion about that and see if we can help clarify some direction for the CNCF and provide some thoughts and advice and guidance based on our discussion to help them with that. Big challenge there is we have a lot of different technology areas that we cover, and we can really only cover one area. So does that mean we need to step back and find a broader topic for platform engineering and show a mix or blend of technologies, or what does that look like? I'm sure we'll have some interesting discussion around that. But let's go ahead and jump in. We usually start with intros. Is anybody here today that's new or maybe hasn't spoken up for the first time that just wants to say, hi, this is who I am and this is why I'm here? Open floor.
Yeah, I can start. Hi, my name is Ashwin. I'm from the Netherlands. I joined Slack in the beginning this year after a talk from William Rizzo. And I'm AKS, Azure AKS lead at my company, and we are migrating our application to Kubernetes. So I'm trying to get more to implement platform engineering, self-service, automation. It's not so easy. We have a cloud team, and to get them to think more like a product mindset and just get the developer teams more self-service. It's not so easy to do. So that's why I joined. I want to know more, learn more about platform engineering, and also contribute where possible.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. Great intro. Corey, you've got your hands up.
Yeah, I'm Corey McGalliard. I'm an engineering manager for Akamai, or Linode. My team has built a cloud platform based on Kubernetes that is used by internal teams. So it really follows the IDP standards and practices. So super interested to hear what other people are doing, and then contribute where I can.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else?
I can go next. Yeah, Mauricio Salatino here, joining from London. This is the first time that I joined this call, but I know the platform engineering group for some time. I know a lot of familiar faces here. But yeah, so I'm here with Daniel as part of that's Chris. Hey, Chris. Yeah, I'm part of the TAG developer experience. I think that we will be doing kind of like a short intro to that with Daniel here. Daniel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm Daniel from Boston, United States, and I'm also responsible for co-chair with Mauricio for new tech for developer experience. I'm long-time CNCF ambassador, and then working for developer advocate for Red Hat / IBM. Yeah, and thanks for having us today.
Awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to working with you guys more and more. And congrats on the new tag. It's important. Let's see. First thing that we're going to do is jump into some housekeeping and talk about some things. So obviously the big announcement for our last meeting was that the technical community group application was formally accepted. So as a quick recap for folks, through the TOC restructure, the platforms working group was sent into a little bit of limbo while tag app delivery was archived. So we've been maintaining the community since then, while the CNCF, the Technical Oversight Committee, helps define what a technical community group looks like as a new concept. And so thanks to a tool submission and the hard work of a lot of folks, we've been able to become one of the first technical community groups formally. So we're getting out of that limbo state, and we'll be getting access to LFX and some of the other platforms, Bevy and others here in the coming weeks. So what that means is that the meeting link will change again. We may have some movement around the website. Ideally, the artifacts will not move again, but we'll keep people posted, and see what that needs to look like. It does look like the tag app delivery repo was unarchived. That was a request from us so that we could update canonical links and things to former resources, but we're checking and tracking on that. But keep an eye on the Slack and everything for changes related to becoming a formal TCG here happening soon. As a part of that, the voting, today's announcement would be that the voting has completed. So the TOC did a private vote for adding community organizers. So Atul and I held down the fort while we got through that process. And as a technical community group, we can have up to 5 co-organizers. And so we have some new co-organizers, and I don't know if everyone's, let me check. I don't think everyone's on there today. So we're kind of getting our ducks in a row, but the newest one that's on today is Chris. And so everybody knows Chris. Chris has been around for a while, and I don't know how you can commit to doing more work, Chris, but congratulations. Like, happy to have you for sure. You're muted though.
Thank you. Honoured to have been chosen, and yeah, I look forward to a 2-year term, just helping the group out and trying to step up a bit more. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, we are too. The other new,
I should share, the first person that told me about it, I was cycling along the seaside in Brighton yesterday, Monday, when it was announced. Yeah, today's Tuesday. It was Abby Bangzer that let me know. And the universe works in a really strange way, because Abby was also in Brighton at the same time. You know, sent her a picture saying, "Oh, this is my cycle," right? So the person that introduced me to the group was the person that let me know that it was successful, and she was also in the same place in the south of England where I was at the same time, down from the Highlands of Scotland, right? That tells you all you need to know about the universe.
I like it. Yeah, the other new ones are, the other new co-organizers are Katie Greenley, as well as, and I'm going to butcher his name, and it's going to kill me once we finally get to know each other, but I guess Humble Churamal? You help me, Atul.
No, I think Humble is enough. We all know him here, so Humble is his first just enough.
That sounds great. So we look forward to getting help from everybody there and really accelerating the community and pushing things forward. So I'm just glad to be out of limbo. This is great. Let's see. Well, let's move on. So first thing that we want to do is we want to open up the floor to our guests from TAG DevEx. Oh, and I see I might have skipped the KubeCon. We'll come back to the KubeCon details. But want to open up the floor. So we're trying to have a guest speaker or guest topic from projects, from other TCGs, from end-user groups. We're trying to promote what's going on with the CNCF. And as good platform engineers, we want to be a good facilitating organization as well and connect expertise and do all that. So really looking forward to hear about TAG DevEx from Daniel and Mauricio, so that we can understand how we can collaborate more and help each other and any other topics that you guys have for us. So Daniel and Mauricio, take it away.
Sounds good. So you're going to go first, Mauricio, or you want me to do first?
You drive, I will add comments.
All right,
Let's do that.
sounds great. Yeah, okay. Thanks for having us again, and then super happy to share our TAG DevEx stuff. So as you probably know, DevEx is a developer experience. So our primary goal, try to improve end-to-end experience for a developer, how to build, deploy, and maintain cloud-native application using CNCF projects. So here's the thing, you probably understand a lot of CNCF project, more than 1,000 CNCF project, primarily focus on infrastructure, Kubernetes platform, or whatever they call that, like automation, operation, day 2, day 1, something like that. But still, if you have any chance to go to KubeCon, for example, you find a lot of application developers, doesn't matter Java, Python, .NET, JavaScript, and so on. So when you go to KubeCon and try to find out some great experience or practice of how to bring my application into cloud platform, which is Kubernetes most likely, but they couldn't find a great experience or a practice based on their daily job. Even if there are a lot of a project, for example, Backstage. So one of a more developer relevant project and tool, Backstage, give some great experience for developer when they join the project or hire the new company. Okay, you don't need to spend a lot of time for weeks to learn about your new project technology stack from like a stupid documentation. You just go to Backstage and then log in with your ID and password, and then you can create your own sandbox environment, which is include all like IDE or CI/CD or GitLab, whatever you need. You can find out in next 5 minutes, and then you can start your application development in day one, which is just so cool. But the problem is, so most documentation, example, or demo, or technical tutorial learning path is pretty much focused on platform engineering. And then, but Backstage people, yeah, so our end user, actual end user is developers. But developer really hardly find out actual like a learning path or material in Backstage project. So our tech group, like a developer experience, we need the first primary goal, we're gonna working closely with the end user project people, like a Backstage or whatever we curated. And then we're gonna reach out to them and then, hey, so we understand you are primary goal and functionality improve like a platform engineering stuff, for example, but we also support you or help you out to having more developer experience, like a function capability and so on. But also, we're gonna also support application developer, increase their productivity or experience and practice using a lot of CNCF project. Rather than, hey, we just recommend like a 25 different CNCF project, we're gonna give it a try to like a more like a curated example how to combine Mixer and Mango multi CNCF project for specific use cases for like an API or AI or like a general cloud-enabled application development or fast deployment or testing automation and so on. So as a part of the DECO, so we already have like a 5 tech leaders as other like a tech group, and we have a 3 co-chair, including me and Mona and Mauricio. And then we already finished our draft, our charter, and then we are reviewing with the TOC based on this like a scope and among others. And then we are always looking forward to collaborating with the other tech group and community group and the C group, because we need to learn from them to understand what kind of new like needs or demand or potential challenges they are looking forward to having more developer experience kind of thing. Please chime in, Mauricio, and add some comment
Yeah.
on that.
So I think that the main area like of focus compared with the things that at least we were doing before in app delivery is that in this case we need to be a little bit more pragmatic about helping specific projects. So the initiatives that you will find under the tag developer experience will be very concrete in how do we help projects to provide a more unified developer experience when we look them as a group, right? And I think that most of the discussions that we are having now, I think that it's extremely important for us to first like define the charter. That's why I pasted the pull request there, where we are just actually reviewing that. It will be great to have like the experience of this group looking at that document and then helping us to figure out if that kind of makes sense for you, right? Like if the focus of that charter description makes sense, then that basically means that as a wider community, the work that we will be doing kind of makes sense. And then I wanted to share the other link, which is the initiatives filter in GitHub. Right now, there is one initiative that was approved by the TOC and is assigned to the tag to work on. And as you can see, this is a very wide and very large scope, right? Like how do you provide like a consistent developer experience across AI applications that can be deployed as containers, right? That's a huge thing. So what we are trying to do now is trying to break that down to see what are the actionable parts of this initiative, and then see how can we work with different stakeholders just to refine that and actually create some work that impact, projects inside the CNCF. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, so I just wanted one comment. So just speaking of a collaboration with the other groups, so one of our like a big challenge for now, our work, the tech group. So when we find out some of the CNCF project, which we think that is relevant to developer experience, and then we're gonna reach out to that, like a CNCF project people, like a maintainer or core people, something like that. We're gonna offer them, hey, so are you interested in augmenting your developer experience, a relevant feature or capability along with your project? And then if they say no, we're not interested. And then, oh, okay, and then bye. And then we're gonna try to find another project. But so for that, we need to maybe understand how the like a more like a end user people are actually working on, and which like a functionality capability they prioritize for the next couple of months, rather than developer experience kind of thing. With that, so we have a pretty much like a brute force like a way just to reach out to people and find like a daily poll, and then just jump into some of the like latest call or cadence call. So we tried that way, but other than that, we probably connect to existing like a community group or other tech group first, and then maybe prioritize. Oh, you need to find out these people first, and then ask them what you wanted to offer to them, and then how to help them. Try to understand their current job or roadmap or priority and task priority first, rather than just reach out to random people and ask them. So that's why we wanted to highlight more, because we try to spend more time and effort to collaborate with other people. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to answer Chris' question about like how is this different from like the end user SIG developer experience, I think that the main difference here is that the tag will be judged about concrete results. So when you talk about end users, like you can have companies presenting about different use cases that they are implementing, but here what we are talking about is like contribution to specific projects. So there needs to be something technical and deliverable that needs to come out from this tag. It cannot be just presentations about projects, right? It's not about like making sure that the project is known. This is more about we need to impact the shape of the projects and the direction, and we are in a position where we can oversee multiple projects. So if we see that we do something in Backstage, we are using Backstage a lot today, and that impacts on some other different projects, well, we actually need to make sure that they are aligned and that we can like create these initiatives that affect the ecosystem more than just a single project.
Right. Okay, thanks. The reason I asked is Corbin, who's part of this group as well, and myself, went along to that end user community last week and just presented on one of the initiatives that we've been working on here. So like you guys, we're trying to go out to the other groups and just talk about some of these things and kind of cross share. I attend that because it's part of the end user community and I'm an end user. So it's one of the ones I've been going to, but there's not a lot of people come along to it. So we're also kind of trying to signpost it as well. And say here's another one that's meant to be the community group for end user. You know, other people go along to that one too if you're an end user.
Yeah, I will definitely love to invite everyone who is interested in that into kind of like understanding how do we align projects so end users do not need to spend time learning about different ways of doing different things with different projects, right? Like if you are part of the CNCF, all the projects should look the same in terms of like developer experience. And I don't think that we are there yet. So there's a lot of work that we need to do. And there's a lot of influencing that we need to do on maintainers to make sure that that happens. So I do feel that there's a lot of work, and we are still kind of like on the definition phase. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, but we are still trying to get a grasp on how TOC thinks about the initiatives and deliverables, and that's why we're refining the charter. We want to be we want to kind of like build some solid foundations first before going full on and doing stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So one last thing. So we have a bi-weekly meeting, this week and tomorrow, always the 10 a.m. Eastern time. So you are more than welcome to join the call, like not whole hour, maybe just maybe first 10 minutes, and then you're going to share a little bit observation, insight from platform engineering side, relevant to developer experience. Anytime we have a bi-weekly meeting, that'll be great for us to understand platform engineering for developer experience capability. I think that's all. And any questions for that? Go ahead, Colin. You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the raise hand button. I always look in the list of emojis. I always forget that. Yeah, one thing that I'm curious, or an area that you might be able to help us as well, and just in platform engineering as a whole, in conversation with different groups or different folks, especially as people get into platform engineering, I think there's a lot of confusion related to the scope of what the platform is, or in platform engineering itself, related to IDP, or just like the use of IDP.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of help people understand that, yes, an IDP is a platform, but it's kind of one type or one purpose. It doesn't mean necessarily platform engineering. Right, there's a much broader scope and things there, but I think that might be an area that we might be able to do get some good overlap, or if DevEx, if Tag DevEx is maybe able to help define what an IDP is in some capacity, or like maybe what it's responsible for, or something to help us kind of draw a line in the sand that says, okay, yes, an IDP is part of a larger platform, or it is a standalone platform, or what is this thing, but what is IDP versus other platforms, is something that is interesting to me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So the Mauricio and Mona, other co-chair, and we actually thinking about creating new sub-project or initiative under our tag group, like a showcase or explain something like a cloud native developer experience, like a journey kind of thing. So as a junior developer or a senior developer, doesn't matter. You're gonna start your journey from here, and you're gonna end up with some some ultimate goal, something like that. During the journey, you probably consider or adopt a bunch of the CNCF project as tools, or include your input and output process, and then IDP, and then collaborate with this platform engineering stuff as a part of the journey. Absolutely, yes. And then so my thought, we probably created a sub project or initiative, like a short term or long term. It's a more a proactively working with the other group, like your application delivery, and then it more better motivation for all of us, and then working together and a little bit dedicate time rather than just a random idea or add some comment. So that's a really excellent idea, and thanks for suggestion. Yeah, we probably develop a little bit more, and then we probably ask you guys, and then during our bi-weekly call, and then give us some great feedback and observation as well.
Yeah, it sounds great. I think there's a lot of opportunity for overlap there, and a lot of folks are going to jump into our group having a more of a developer experience focus as well.
Sounds awesome.
So being able to direct them to you, right? Awesome. Any other questions from anyone? Open floor. Just use the hand raise, and we've definitely got a few minutes for questions.
Yeah, anytime you guys reach out to us in the Slack, and anytime. Yeah.
See, you did post. Somebody put the charter, a link to the charter in there. And you guys don't have a website yet, right?
It's just empty, and then once charter approved, we're gonna resonate the website as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So please feel free to go and review the charter pull request. That, again, just add comments or ideas or whatever you feel that it's missing or something that it doesn't make any sense. Just let us know.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, thank you guys for coming today.
All right.
For sure. What can you remind me again what days your regular meetings are?
Every other Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and the next meeting is tomorrow.
Awesome. I'm going to try to make it.
All right.
Go find it.
Thanks,
Do you have
guys.
can you share a link to the
yeah, I'm gonna
page so folks can subscribe?
put on the chat Zoom link right now. Give me 1 second. I just put on the chat and the Google Meet and the Zoom link.
Let's see. Or do you have yeah, okay. Well, is this the page that'll let people subscribe?
Yeah, so there are the CNCF calendar actually. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, the calendar would be the best. You can just filter there for developer experience, and you will see every 2 Wednesdays. I'm just trying to copy the link, and I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's there. Calendar CNCF. Yeah, here. So you will, if you click that link, you will see it kind of like it's the first because it's coming tomorrow.
Yep. That's the link. And you can go down and you can select Dev Experience. And then you will see the bi-weekly meeting. Yeah, click on that. It takes some time. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then register there. Great.
So,
Folks, thank you so much for the invitation. And again, I'm looking forward to collaborate with folks. So yeah, just get in touch if you're interested in these topics.
Awesome. Thanks again, guys.
all right. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Cheers.
All right. Our next topic we'll jump into. I guess I'll come back. Atul, did you want to do a quick chat about KubeCon?
Yeah, sure. I just saw Chris raising his hand, or was it by mistake? Chris, do you have something to add?
No, that was by mistake, mate. I was trying to find the hand clap.
Oh, sure.
Just to say, yeah, thanks, guys.
Sure, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I think for KubeCon, there were a couple of things that we had been discussing. One was obviously the booth. So if you have been attending KubeCons in the past, you know that previously when we were part of the tag app delivery, we had our working group, certain time that was allocated on the booth, and we did do lightning talks and a lot of other activities, research, feedback, etc. Since this time around, we didn't have a tag. I mean, we are not under a tag. I had checked with the events team if we could, as a technical community group now, get some space in the solution showcase. And they have confirmed that we can get a space in the solution showcase. So I think they have requested for, things like the logos, the names, and so on and so forth. So Colin has already shared with them. What we are waiting for is the exact time and duration and on the days when we will get the booth for. Once we have that in place, we would be planning out on things that we would want to do at the booth. So probably in the next call or next couple of calls, once we have the time in place, we can work out on things that we want to do. So, lightning talks that we have been doing earlier, we could do that. We could also work on the research or the product platform as a product research that's happening, or the maturity assessment tool that's happening, right? So we could present, showcase, discuss things about that. So that's one thing. So we can obviously discuss in the next call once I have or we have, the exact date and duration when we get the booth. The second one was regarding the maintainer summit. I did see that there are some unconference sessions that are listed for KubeCon Atlanta, and I'm not quite sure what those were. So I did want to check with the TOC and see if they have anything around the technical community group or specifically for the platform engineering group. So that is something I'm still following up, and if I get some time, then I'll understand from them what that is, and then accordingly, if we get some time there, we could plan something for that unconference session as well. So these are the couple of things that I had from the KubeCon perspective. Yes, Chris.
I was just going to add, I've also been chatting via Abby with the events team about the coffee mornings that we've been having, when we all get together. There are some kind of limited capabilities. It's not like London. It's not the same layout and setup. So now that we've got the kind of TOC leadership stuff sorted out, we'll start liaising with them. They've given 3 kind of ideas. They've talked about the Signia Hotel that's connected to the main building. I'm just reading it off a list now. There's the Starbucks, which is kind of across the street. And then there's the on-site coffee that's available prior to the keynotes. It's likely to be busy, right? The foyers are opening at different times each day. There will be seating available, but it's first come, first served. So we're going to work through that. We'll talk to them. We've got the floor plan. We'll try and figure something out over the next few weeks now and try and get something organised, because that was a great event that we had in London. You know, a lot of people getting together every morning through the week. So we'll try and do the same. I think we had an experience in Salt Lake City. It was good, and Paris, Paris was. Each one's been very different, Stefan. Right? You know, Paris, we had the lovely, cozy setting in the hotel. You know, with lovely croissants and coffee for breakfast. It was really nice. And then we had the kind of DIY stand-up. Find a corner in the coffee shop in Salt Lake, right? It was certainly an experience blocking everyone coming in. So, yeah, we'll try and get something organised.
Yeah, so a quick recap for what that is for folks that might be new is at the KubeCons, we've been doing a lean coffee setup. So it's curated discussion around platform engineering. So essentially how that works is we have timed discussions, and the way you decide on those is we break people out into smaller groups, and everyone writes down topics they're interested in on sticky notes. You put those down on the table, and then everyone in the group goes around and puts tallies on those, and that's how you order what the discussion is. And after a few minutes of discussion on one topic, everyone votes to continue or move on to a new topic. So a lot of really good, valuable discussion and connectivity that comes from that. And we've grown the community a lot during those events, but it's one of our favorite things to do. We think it's a nice way to kind of break away from the conference vibe as well and have good, strong, focused conversations on challenges and challenging topics. So we're looking to do that again this year, just trying to find location information. Let's see. Another thing we've discussed as well is related to some of the initiatives. So one of our initiatives is the Platform Engineering Maturity Model Assessment. At each of the past KubeCons, there have been areas that we can reserve around the lunch tables, just not like for that area, but not during lunchtime, to be able to do some discussion or workshopping. And the initiative team wants to be able to do some feedback and have workshop sessions related to the maturity model assessment there as well. So something to keep an eye out for that we'll be trying to publicize and get people to sign up for. Let's see. All right, the first discussion topic that I have, and then it's open floor. If anyone wants to propose a question, anything, you know, you're trying to work through something with a customer, you've got a project you're not sure about, you want to know more about platform engineering as a practice, you know, anything, go ahead and throw those into the chat, and we'll try to prioritize those and have some discussion about it. And if we don't get to it, we'll move it into the agenda for the next meeting as well. So we can have some dedicated time for discussion on that. But the first topic is this concept of a tech radar for the CNCF. So as you may have seen in the past, the CNCF does publish annual tech radars on different topics. They want to introduce platform engineering as a topic this year as well. The big challenge, though, is it's much easier to have a tech radar for something like developer platforms or storage utilities or Kubernetes distributions or things that are in focused topics. Platform engineering is difficult because we cover so many different domains and we're really assembling things together. And so the tech radar is mainly about these are the projects you should be aware of that are being used for, I guess, platform development or platform management or anything related to platform engineering. So I kind of wanted to open up the floor to discussion of really the topic is there a way that we can find or list technologies reasonably in more of a broad category rather than select like one aspect of a platform and a radar for that? And if so, maybe there are some examples related to that. Obviously, I think Canoe has a good tech radar and some examples there. And I saw somebody it looked like joined from that project, maybe, or at least their organization just now. But it's an interesting topic, and I think Canoe is maybe one inspirational piece, and we want to find a way to involve them and collaborate over there. But yeah, does anybody have any thoughts or questions about that concept or the topic? Tough room.
Well, as you say, it's hard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so if you put yourself in the shoes of somebody reading it, you know, maybe what are some technologies you'd expect to see in a tech radar for platform engineering? I mean, obviously, maybe it's, you know, Backstage is probably on there somewhere. It's on everybody's mind there. Maybe there's a platform orchestrator or something there. I mean, Cradix might be on there as well. Yeah, go ahead. Canoe. It looks like you might be muted. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry for that. Thank you. Yeah, I joined with my own mail ID earlier, but somehow I switched to Canoe. That's fine. So my name is Pankaj. I'm leading Canoe right now from AWS. I just wanted to point out like the data that we have on Canoe website. I know it's a bit old. It was done in 23. We are working on updating it, but it is only limited to the community members of Canoe. I think we can use same kind of format where we tag each project that we have or we want to add into the tech radar to the capability. We can decide on what the capability map is, but I think that's the good way to go for it.
Yeah, you can. I just shared my screen. You can see the radar here. When you guys put together the radar, were you intending to? I think Canoe was taking an opinionated approach, right? Like these are technologies that you are selecting and vetting and things specific to that, or are you taking more of an open, kind of a broader, let's include everything that we can and put it on the radar? Maybe is there any insight for how you guys decided to put yours together?
Yeah, so the projects are selected based on the usage of the community members, what they are using, what they are trying, or what they are assessing. So if you see there's a line, right, like adopt, treat, assess, and hold. So depending on that, we take an opinion about a particular project. So first we list what the projects are being used by the community members, especially the more input is from the core members who are basically a larger customers of AWS because they operate at scale. They have seen limitations of these projects and they have adoption across their organizations, leading many of like 5,000 plus developers, more than that, using it. So we list out the projects, then we start going through each one of them of at what stage they are using it. Have they adopted it across the organization, or it is just a partial adoption? And based on that, we decide if the project, where the project should go into the tech radar. Yeah.
And is there any certain perspective that they follow? Like, are these tools delivered to users of the platform or maintainers? Like, was there a specific focus there, or is it covering everything?
It was covering everything. So any project that they use into the platform, that is considered into this tech radar.
Awesome. Great, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the insight. I think one difference for this might be that the CNCF probably will exclude some of the vendor services. Like we obviously wouldn't see ECS or IAM on there, but I mean those are obviously still useful in the radar in general. But yeah, this is super helpful. I'll try to connect these folks with you guys as well. The guys that are coming from the TOC and the other groups that are thinking about this.
Yep.
Awesome. Any questions or comments from anybody on that? And maybe this helps with understand the concept of the tech radar.
My first question is, like, what would be the main difference between this and ours, except for the vendor specific things? Would it be sort of the same, more or less the same?
So I wonder if this will load in browser here. Yeah, so this is the example of the previous tech radar, the one from November. So you see that there are some core topics multi-cluster application management, batch AI, ML, compute technologies. And so this is the format of the tech radar more broadly here. And I'll share a link to this as well in the chat. So this is the type of report that they're looking to have a section for platform engineering. So if anybody has some extra thoughts about that, feel free to put it into the channel, the Slack channel. We can start a discussion around that.
Just for some context, Linode recently released App Platform, which is a Kubernetes-based platform where you can easily manage software. Gives you kind of a whole opinionated way of deploying cluster. Kind of meets a lot of the platform expectations. I don't work for this team; they're adjacent to me, but you could potentially take ideas of the different realms of responsibilities and say these tools meet these needs, and how to daisy chain them together.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's part of the challenge is like as we communicate platform engineering as a practice to folks that aren't necessarily deeply involved, people get fixated on the specialty areas, like the different aspects of the platform. And so the big challenge for the folks at the CNCF is that, okay, so how do we take a step back and think about it more broadly as one category as opposed to a category for each? And so it's almost, I like the way that Canoe has it here, because we almost want to, maybe we just ignore the different aspects, right? And just talk about, have that as a subline on a particular project, like maybe its purpose, but these are the top 10 or so projects that platform engineers are using or implementing. Awesome. I think we've beaten that horse. Do we have, does anybody have a proposed topic in the chat there? Let's see. I don't see any. So open floor, any questions, topics, thoughts, asks?
I wanted to ask, sorry, I saw that somebody also posted about kubectl AI, but I was just going to ask one area of like platform engineering that I think gets some highlight, although I'd be curious to hear others' thoughts on it, is on the multi-cluster management. I think it's inevitable at some point you go from managing maybe a handful of clusters to, well, just scaling and having a lot more, and then kind of the mentality of, right, having pets versus cattle and just how folks are approaching that. I know previously there were several projects, right, in the Kubernetes space from Kubernetes, KubeFed V2. And yeah, I was just curious to hear other folks' opinions as to, you know, when on your platform journey do you start to kind of look into things, whether it's something you buy, adopt, or maybe build from the ground up with the cluster API or something along those lines.
I'm trying to stay quiet to let other people talk. Yeah, jump in.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the things that you said at the end there, I got me a bit scared because I didn't know exactly what they were. But I come from an experience of preferring to have sort of like a centralized infrastructure cluster to manage others, and then now trying to adopt a fully distributed solution where sort of everything is basically overlays, customized overlays in the infra or the fleet repo. And it would be interesting, to me at least, to have some kind of topic on that on the web page, for example, to explain the different approaches and strengths and weaknesses of both. I think that would be an interesting thing to cover. Because I'm not sure what I'm landing on.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, Corey.
Sorry to talk a lot. I talk a lot for work anyway. When I worked for CNET, so I had the opportunity to build CNET's Kubernetes infrastructure, we had in the neighborhood of 15 clusters, all managed by Terraform and deployed independently. About 10 clusters is when it starts to kind of answer some of the question of when do you think about this? About 10 clusters was for the size of my team, like 4 people. That's when we started having problems and needed to start thinking about fleet operations and fleet management. The moment you go to the point to where you need to do like blue-green, like deployments, multi-regions, that gets more and more complicated. And then like the other guy, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, mentioned earlier, the central cluster that reaches out to multiple. That's kind of where we are today. We have Argo that allows us to kind of like reach into multiple clusters.
Yeah, that's what I had as well. It's FaceTime, by the way.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name, but hand up from CEO, from Kanuman to
Pankaj. I'll make sure next time I log in with my Yeah. So about multi-cluster management, I think Corey mentioned, and I don't want to mess up the name, but I'll go with Hagen, mentioned that we use hub and spoke model. We recommend that to our customers as well at AWS. We also have a talk given by Carlos Santana in KubeCon EU, the last KubeCon EU, about fleet management with Adobe. Adobe uses that across the board through GitOps, and we also have a repo where someone can check out how the fleet management is done purely through GitOps approach. It involves, it has a backstage template which can bring up your ephemeral environments for your devs if they want to use it, trash it after they are done. Those examples are also there.
Chris?
Yeah, there's tons of different approaches on how you could tackle this, and really what is the business problem you're trying to solve, right? Are you trying to come up with a cluster as a service offering, standing up dedicated clusters for different parts of your business? Are you trying to do fleet management? Are you trying to use some sort of hosted control plane approach, maybe along the Classics or the Kamaji project? They were here probably 6 months, maybe 12 months ago. I think the guys were in one of our sessions where they were kind of showing the benefits of their solution. There is actually many projects and many different ways of doing this, and I could talk at length about the approach that we follow as well for our own. It really depends what it is that you're trying to achieve. Which project is best for your requirements. I spent a whole year looking at the different things, and the different options in that space. I would say not all of them are mature or the same maturity level yet. I mean, William Rizzo's talked about in his old with his old hat on when he was at and Colin, you've done it as well, talking about Rancher when he was at Suez, right? There's many different technologies out there that you can use to tackle the problem in different ways. It just depends what it is that you're actually trying to achieve. Really what your outcomes need to be. Yeah, we could put lots of links in the chat about it. There's dedicated EKS ones. There's dedicated CSP ones. Are you trying to go across the different CSPs? The thing I try and keep my eye on at the different KubeCons is how that multi-cluster SIG, what's actually happening with the APIs, especially the cluster API. I think the last one in Salt Lake City, I didn't get to the one in London, but in Salt Lake City, I think we had everyone apart from AWS to the table. I think AWS, and Corbin said they had some other issues they were dealing with at that time when we talked about it in the group. But they had Azure were there and part of the SIG. Red Hat were there. Google were there. But it was noticeable that Amazon weren't there talking about the multi-cluster approach. And that SIG talked about the things that they'd obviously then prioritize, because we were asking, how are you going to do fleet management across multiple CSPs and multiple regions? You all need to play nicely together, right, if we're going to use cluster API to do that. And I don't think it's anywhere there yet. Something, someone raise your hand if you've heard anything, but I think it's still in the same place. If you're doing the same CSP, you can kind of use the cluster API approach and what the guys have been doing, but I think cross CSPs is still a problem. And that's where you kind of need another product, really, if you want a host control plane approach. Hope that helped.
Yep.
I'll give
No.
some insight anyway.
Definitely appreciate the dialogue. So thank you so much for that. And I think that's the thing, right? Depending on your constraints and your environments, if you're multi-cluster or sorry, cloud service providers or just with a single one, you have, various ways of approaching it. But I think the question in the chat also kind of like ties into this with like platform engineering, right? There's one aspect which is more like on the cluster operations, managing those. And then there's the other side of it. It's like, okay, well, one thing is to have those environments, but then how apps are rolled out into them, right? And so I think that's one thing that we're trying to balance with our team, because at our organization, we got multiple teams and there's a separate team that's in charge of like pipelines and more of the app developer experience. But sometimes when they're, making changes are on their end, it may not be, I guess, as the most impactful if we were to like collaborate together. But yeah, I just find ourselves in a position where our team also needs to manage, almost 50 clusters, and we're starting to feel that pain, right? We're struggling, so we definitely need to take a much more pragmatic approach in terms of like being able to scale up our tooling, and ideally, yeah, with something like maybe aligning on the cluster API or perhaps one of the open source projects that may help us, just manage our cluster environments more like cattle. But no, I appreciate everybody's input, so thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a moving target, and it will evolve. Like your approach will evolve over time. I think it's important also to not paint yourself into a corner. And I don't mean like you have to get it right out of the gate. I mean, people will get really opinionated about one way something works and say that we have to do it this very opinionated way for everybody now. And they sometimes forget to take into account the needs of the workload itself or the needs of the users and what they're capable of. Like we do things that try to create friction sometimes, like on purpose to try to help drive some things, because we know that shared responsibility model will kind of mold and shift and change as the platform evolves. And you'll have some teams that are capable of more autonomy and need more autonomy, that want kind of their own dedicated space and sandbox. And in some cases, it simplifies management to say, well, I'm just going to focus on getting a cluster ready up for you and populating it with some guardrails and tools. And that's it. And then the rest is you. But some other teams may just need to ship an app. And in that case, they maybe have one big cluster that's multi-tenant, or you have some dev stage prod parity or whatever needs to happen there. But when we go through this maturity journey with developers and containers and kind of moving in, we start to learn what tools they will need and what constraints they need to have. And we may go from a multi-tenant large cluster into ejecting applications or certain tools into their own independent clusters as the platform is ready to evolve. And so to me, it just falls back to those kind of personnel capabilities and providing them with tools that will not only help them, but also maybe relieve some of the burden of the platform team as well. You shouldn't have to be responsible for every single thing along the way just because they're touching some of your infrastructure. And so that's just a couple of my thoughts there.
It might be a future piece of work for us, Colin, actually, maybe try and just get a blog post or something on all the different techniques that everyone in the group talks about. I mean, we've all got different projects that we all use and follow, right? There's no definitive one. And we all use different techniques, and you've got really cool stuff that you do, seeing stuff that Stefan's talked about. There's lots of different things that we're all talking about doing. None of them are right or wrong, right? And they're all trying to tackle the same problem. So maybe if we could pull together a blog post and just sprinkle in all our little thoughts on each one of the different tools that are out there, it might actually expose to us all how many there actually are. And, which ones are actively being used, because there are a lot.
Yeah, an example I might have on the extreme would be, the concept of maybe in stack or in environment validation for a workload. If you have a piece of software that's getting deployed into infrastructure that you might not necessarily have control over, if you're that type of ISV, right? You're providing a Helm chart and somebody's installing into your environment, then we need to make sure our platform creates temporary environments or environments that are reflective of what the expectation would be in production. And we may need to also include testing or integration testing workloads as part of the actual, not the build and then deploy lifecycle, but the deploy and then test kind of part of that lifecycle. So we need to take a cluster first approach or an environment first approach, versus if it's just a tool that I'm going to deploy to any destination managed Kubernetes cluster, then you might not be as concerned about that. So like in edge compute and telecom and all that, there's this big focus on, we have to deploy to a single machine that has a cluster, or it's small, or maybe we have this kind of near edge, far edge. There's a lot of different things there. But if you're just building a SaaS app, then why would you go and build a bunch of different clusters? Do you really need to? So I guess it just boils down to the application. One fun thing that I always say is like, you wouldn't Helm install a cluster, would you? And my answer is actually, yeah, I absolutely would, because I want the same tools and the same concepts to kind of, function in different ways, but I want that similar feel and life cycle across different responsibilities. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. We see a lot of people that do. I love the shout out to Crossplane, because people will start with Terraform because the infrastructure folks are familiar with that, and realize that there's a day 2 life cycle that they need to manage, and then they start to move like into Crossplane. Like, cool little maturity there. But last chance. We're a little over time. Last comments. Chris is dropping too. Cool. Next time, for next call, we have open issues in the GitHub. I'll share that as well in the Platform Engineering Slack. Get into the Platform Engineering Slack on the CNCF community Slack as well. That is our Slack. And then feel free to keep the dialogue and discussion going there. There are meeting entries in the issues in the repository where you can propose topics, sign up to be a speaker, do all that kind of stuff. So definitely look forward to having continued community calls and discussions there. But thank you everybody for jumping in, and may your path be golden. That's my fun little slogan.
Good one.
Yep. Just one quick update before we go away. I just checked the schedule. We did have our booth approved, so it's happening on Thursday, November 13th from 10:30 to 2 p.m. So we have about 3.5 hours. That's there on the official schedule on the project site. I have updated that in the meeting notes. So maybe one agenda for next call could be, we could just discuss on what we can do during those 3.5 hours. So yeah, that's the update I got just right away.
Awesome. Thanks, Atul.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you again
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you. Bye.